Hey guys, welcome to the class. Happy Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. Just wait a minute or two for some more people to join and then we'll get going. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. So I just want to start off the class by expressing gratitude to each and every one of you that are joining this class today. Obviously that's what makes it worthwhile, just seeing who's on the class and just connecting in with you personally, and then seeing those people that attend the classes afterwards, and the feedback that you guys provide is just really awesome. Thank you so much. So lots of gratitude from me to each and every one of you. So in today's class, we worked through the chakra system, and for the last two classes we've been pretty slow and contemplated in terms of the way we move. So we're going to keep that theme going, but then start to open it up just a little bit. I don't want to go too fast, because on our Friday class at 3:30, I want to do a yin class that's focused on gratitude. So I'll put those details up on Instagram and give you feedback. Should be a really, really cool class. So in today's class, while we keep it slow, I want you to use the moments when you find that stillness to really connect into your core. So as we work through all of the different poses, no matter what the pose is, of course some poses are going to activate the core a little bit more than others, but as we work through this class, I want you to keep bringing your mind back into the activation of your core and remind yourself about where you are in the process. So it's this constant coming back, analyzing where you are, activating and engaging. And remember, your core is just more than that six-pack that each and every one of you've got, I know. I also want to play a little bit, and this is completely optional. I just feel like I need this in my body. We're going to probably play into crow and the transition from crow to tripod headstand. If that's not in your practice, please don't worry. Just stay in the Malasana squat pose. Let everyone else flow through the rest of it. Cool. All right, so in today's class, I want to actually start by sort of disconnecting from the outside world, and we haven't done this for a period of time. So come into this sort of seated position, knees go towards the outside edges. Of course, you can bring your knees together if that suits you. Roll your fingers into a fist. We're going to place one fist on the other, drop the fist down, sort of just in front of our forehead. And then tuck your chin towards your chest and just gently drop your forehead onto the pillow that you've made. So once you've done that, see if you can relax your chest down so that you can soften into your shoulders and close into your eyes. So as you turn and close into your eyes, really sort of disconnecting from the senses of the world, and then drawing that a little bit further to disconnect your senses and your engagement in the past and in the future. And see if you can see yourself or visualize yourself as you come to this sort of supported child's pose in wherever you're practicing on your mat. Just recognizing your physical vibrations and energy in the space. Once you've connected into your physical energy, connected to your breath, just notice the quality and rhythm and tempo of your breath. And then, of course, not changing the rhythm and tempo of the breath, just bringing focus and attention onto your breath. As you bring the attention into your breath, see if you can soften your shoulders down, relax your chest a little bit further, feel a little bit more supported. If your mind's escaping your yoga class right now, bring it back. Come into focusing on your breath and your body in the supported child's pose. I want you to lift up your head, keep your eyes closed, drop your palms down towards the mat, push into your palms and sit up. Again, keeping your eyes closed, take your hips across to the left-hand side, extend your legs out in front of you, and then cross one leg in front of the other as we come into Sukhasana, easy seated position. So I want to go with the theme of grounding. So place your hands, palms down onto your knees. Find length in your spine, elbows coming towards the side of your body, relax your shoulders. Just make sure that you haven't pulled your shoulders in front of your hips. Just make sure that those shoulders are pivoting just above the hips, floating there. And start to lengthen into our breath. Inhale for a count of 2. Hold the breath in for 2. Exhale the breath out for 2. Hold the breath out for 2. Inhale for 2. Hold the breath in for 2. Exhale the breath out for 2. Hold the breath out for 2. Inhaling for 2. Hold the breath in for 2. Exhale the breath out for 2. Hold the breath out for 2. 2 more. Inhale for 2. Hold the breath in for 2. Exhale the breath out for 2. Hold the breath out for 2. Last rotation. Inhaling for 2. Hold the breath for 2. Exhale the breath out for 2. Hold the breath out for 2. Inhaling for a count of 3. Exhale for a count of 3. And again, inhaling for 3. Exhaling for 3. Inhaling again for 3. Exhale for 3. Keep the length in your spine. Last 2. Inhale for 3. Exhale for 3. Last one. Inhaling for 3. Exhaling for 3. Keep that rhythm of the breath going. Bring your hands into Anjali Mudra, prayer position at the center of your chest. Contemplate your sankalpa for today. Maybe you want to send that energy towards someone in your life that needs it. Summarize your intention in a couple of words, and then on 3 separate inhales, repeating exactly those same words quietly in your own mind, give rise in energy to that which you want to achieve with your energy in your practice today. Keeping your eyes closed, rub your palms together. Generate as much heat as you can in those palms. And keep feeding the heart. Place your right hand onto your heart center, left hand onto your right hand. Feel that beautiful energy coming into Anahata chakra, starting with that self-love again, just reminding you. as you feel the heat emanate, maybe starting to move through your whole body. So release your palms down towards your knees. Open up your eyes to a half gaze, flicking your eyes a couple of times, and then rolling over onto your knees, coming into tabletop position. So we're not going to work through cat and cow today, maybe a little bit later. We're going to start to just work into our wrist. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, bring your shoulders in front of your wrist, look forward. We're going to hold it for 3 breaths. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, come back into that neutral position in the center. And then take a deep inhale. As you exhale, pull your hips back, dropping your hips between your legs, stretching out into your forearms. 3 breaths. As you inhale, come back into that neutral tabletop position. We're moving through that sequence again. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, come forward. Holding it for 2 breaths this time. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, come back into that neutral tabletop position. And then take a deep inhale. As you exhale, drop your hips all the way back, lengthening out through your arms, stretching out into your arm. 2 breaths. Come all the way back into tabletop position. Change it up again. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, bring your shoulders forward, look forward, drop your hips, and then come back into a neutral position. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, drop all the way back again, lengthening out. Come all the way back into that neutral position in the center. We're going to flip our fingers so that they're pointing towards our knees. And then as you inhale, come forward for 3 breaths. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, keeping our fingers on the mat, lifting our palms, coming back, stretching out those arms. 3 breaths. Come back into that neutral position. We're going forward for 2 breaths. Come back into the neutral position. We're lifting our palms up, leaving our fingertips on the mat, straightening out those arms. 2 breaths. Come back into that center position. Last time, moving forward for 1 breath. Moving back into the middle, lifting up your palms, 1 breath. And then rolling all the way forward. Just going to flip our fingers out towards the side. As you inhale, go across to the left-hand side, hold it for 3 breaths. And then we're moving into the center. Moving across to the right-hand side. Back to center. Across to the left-hand side, 2 breaths. Come back to center. What's happening with your breath? Are you engaging into your core? Do you remember? Across to the right-hand side, 2 breaths. Back into the center. 1 more time. Across to the left-hand side, 1 breath. Activating into the core. Back into the center. Across to the right-hand side, 1 breath. Back into the center. Bring your toes together. Sit back on your sitting bones. Lift up your hands. Shake them out. Maybe you want to rotate into your wrists. Maybe you want to snake it out. What's happening with the core? Are you still engaged and activated mentally, consciously? Right, from this position, find your way into your first downward facing dog. So I'm not going to take any movement in the downward facing dog. Just find stillness. 5 breaths. Last 2. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, flow forward into plank pose. 5 breaths. I want you to bring your weight across into the left hand. Lift up your right hand. Bring your right hand to your chest. Maybe you can hold it for 5 breaths. Dropping the right hand down, moving across to the right hand, lifting up your left hand onto your chest, engaging into the core. Drop the left hand down, chin towards your chest, pike your head back up towards the ceiling, downward facing dog, 3 breaths. What's happening with the core? Take a deep inhale as you exhale, flow forward into plank pose. 3 breaths. Weight comes across into your left hand. Lift up your right hand, bring it into your chest. 3 breaths if you can. Right hand comes down. Weight comes across into your right hand. Lift up your left hand onto your chest if you can. 3 breaths. Drop your left hand down, chin towards your chest, pike hips up towards the ceiling, downward facing dog. We're going to move through that sequence just a little bit quicker. Take a deep inhale as you exhale, flow forward into plank pose. Weight comes across into your left hand, lift up your right hand. Right hand drops down towards the mat. Weight in towards your right hand, lift up your left hand. Drop it all the way back down. Chin towards your chest, pike your hips up towards the ceiling, downward facing dog. Look towards the middle of the mat, walk your feet towards the middle of the mat, walk your hands towards the middle of the mat, come to standing forward fold, feet hip width apart. Bend into your knees, chin towards your chest, round out 1 vertebra at a time. So just working into, loosening into the shoulders, place your right hand onto your thigh, left hand comes all the way back behind you. 3 rotations backwards. And then 3 rotations in the opposite direction. What's happening to the core, even though we're working on the shoulders? Are you activated? Are you conscious? Are you aware? Once you've done your left hand, move your right hand back. Really working into that shoulder. And then in the opposite direction. Once you've done both hands backwards and forwards, then we're going to take up both hands backwards, around and up, using the full length of your breath. 3 backwards. And then moving in the opposite direction. Come back to stillness in the center, chin towards your chest. Drop your head back behind you. Chin comes back into neutral position, nodding across to the left hand side. Nodding all the way across to the right hand side. Coming all the way back to center. Chin towards your chest, left ear, left shoulder. Drop your head back behind you. Right ear, right shoulder. And chin towards your chest. Opposite direction, right ear, right shoulder. Drop your head back behind you. Left ear, left shoulder. Chin towards your chest. Bring your head back into a neutral position. I want you to just walk forward to the sort of first third of your mat. Keep your feet hip width apart. Open up your palms. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, we're sitting down into Utkatasana chair pose. 5 breaths. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, drop your sitting bones all the way down towards the mat and find your way into boat pose. 5 breaths. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, find yourself to half boat pose. Hold it for 5 breaths. After your 5 breaths, drop it all the way down. Bend your knees in towards your chest. Place your hands below your knees. Flex your toes towards your shins. Lengthen out through the back of your neck. As you inhale, move the knees away from your chest. And as you exhale, pull it in. Hold it in. 3 breaths. Last breath here. We're going to try roll all the way backwards, and on the roll forward, come into Malasana squat pose. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, roll it back. Drop your feet forward, extend your chest forward, hands come into prayer position, into Malasana squat pose. So for those of you that want to play, we're going to move from here into crow pose, crow to tripod headstand. We're going to gently work our way through a vinyasa. And if you don't want to do the vinyasa, obviously come into child's pose. If you want to stay in this squatting pose, please do. Otherwise, gently drop your hands down, find your way into crow pose. If you want to go further, come into tripod headstand. And if you're in tripod headstand, gently find your way back into crow pose. And from crow pose, all the way back into Malasana squat pose. From this Malasana squat pose, I'm going to drop out the vinyasa just for the moment. Drop both of your hands down towards the mat. Walk your feet back, drop onto your knees. Push into your palms, chin towards your chest, round your back up towards the ceiling. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, drop your belly, pull your chest through, raise your gaze. Come back into a neutral position. Tuck under your toes, come back into downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, walk your feet towards the front of the mat, or middle of the mat. Walk your hands towards the middle of the mat. Bend into your knees, tuck your chin towards your chest, round out, one vertebra at a time. Alright, we're going to work through that sequence again. This time holding the sequence for just 3 breaths. Open up your feet hip width apart. Lengthen out through your spine. What's happening into that core area? Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, Utkatasana chair pose. Maybe coming a little bit deeper. What's happening in the belly? Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, we're sitting down all the way into boat pose. Open up your chest, pull your belly back, straighten your legs if you can, bend into your knees if you want to. Shaking it out. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, come into half boat pose. Hover the legs, hover the shoulders, look up, arms go out towards the side. Gently drop it all the way down. Bend your knees in towards your chest, hands below your knees, flex your toes towards your shins. As you inhale, release the knees away. As you exhale, pull them in, hold them. One more breath. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, we're rolling back. See if we can come into Malasana squat pose. Whoops. Settling into the pose. 3 deep inhales and exhales here. So you can stay here if you want, otherwise find your way into crow pose. Holding crow pose for 3 breaths, tripod headstand for 3 breaths, and then working back down into Malasana squat pose. Take your time, it's your practice, focus on your core. Eventually finding your way back into Malasana squat pose. One more breath. Drop your palms back down towards the mat. Find your way back into tabletop position. Untuck your toes. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, drop your belly, pull your chest through, raise your gaze. Push into your palms, tuck your chin towards your chest, round your back up towards the ceiling. Come back into a neutral position. Tuck under your toes, lift up your knees, find your way into downward facing dog. Walk your way towards the middle of the mat. Bend into your knees, tuck your chin towards your chest, round out, one vertebra at a time. Right, hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Remember to activate and engage into your core. So just position yourself somewhere between the middle of your mat and the front of your mat. So I noticed when I rolled back a moment ago, I was almost on the step. So maybe you want to avoid the occupational injuries. So walk your feet forward. We're going to flow this thing. We're going to do 3 rotations here. Take a deep inhale as you exhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Take a deep inhale as you exhale, sitting down into boat pose. Take a deep inhale as you exhale, half boat. Drop all the way down. Bend your knees in towards your chest into wind release pose, hands below your knees. Take a deep inhale as you exhale, roll back, roll forward into Malasana squat pose. Send your chest forward. Staying here if you want, otherwise moving through crow, tripod, headstand. Finding your way back down again. Dropping back down into Malasana squat pose. From Malasana squat pose, dropping your hands down towards the mat, finding your way back into tabletop position. Push into your palms, chin towards your chest, round your back up towards the ceiling. Drop your belly, pull your chest through, raise your gaze. Come back into neutral position, tuck your toes under, find your way back to downward facing dog. Walk to the middle of the mat. Bend into your knees, tuck your chin towards your chest. Round out, 1 vertebra at a time. Last 2 rotations. Take a deep inhale as you exhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Slowly with control, activating into your core, sit down. Open up your chest, half boat pose. Drop all the way down. Knees coming towards your chest, hands below your knees, wind release pose. Rolling backwards and rolling forwards into Malasana squat pose. Remember to activate your core if you're moving into crow pose. Coming into tripod headstand. And finding your way all the way back down again. Into Malasana squat pose. Hold it, 1 breath, deep inhale and exhale. Drop your palms down towards the mat, coming into tabletop position. Push into your palms, push into your knees, chin towards your chest, round your back into cat pose. Drop your belly, pull your chest through, raise your gaze. Back into tabletop position, tuck under your knee, tuck under your toes, lift your knees, downward facing dog. Last rotation, walk towards the middle of the mat. Bend into your knees, tuck your chin towards your chest, round out, 1 vertebra at a time. Last one. Take a deep inhale as you exhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Sitting down. Taking the time, lifting up into boat pose, hovering in half boat. Drop it down. Knees coming towards your chest, wind release pose. Flex your toes towards your shins, pull those knees in. What's happening with the core? Rolling all the way back, finding our way into Malasana squat pose. Whoops. Only human. So maybe playing with crow 1 more time. Tripod headstand. Coming back down again. Dropping back down into Malasana squat pose. Into tabletop. Find your tabletop first. Push into your palms, round your back into cat pose. Drop your belly, pull your chest through, raise your gaze. Come back into a neutral position. Big toes come together, knees go towards the outside edge of the mat, dropping all the way back down
into wide-legged child's pose. 5 breaths here. Working through your last breath, pushing through your palms, sit all the way back up into this wide-legged thunderbolt pose. So I don't know if you guys are noticing the heat that you've activated into your body. Really simple sequence, not too fast, holding the breath a little bit, speeding it up a little bit. Thank you for the time check, appreciate it. But maybe noticing the activation, maybe seeing where your attention is and whether you were focused enough on the activation of the core. All right, very good. Okay, so maybe have something to drink if you're taking the time. I want to move through one more flowing sequence here. Again, just working through those calibrations of holding for 5 breaths, holding for 3 breaths, and then flowing it out just a little bit, just to notice the difference, get our body used to that flow. All the time focusing on the activation engagement of our bodies as we work through it. So remember, as we work slowly through those poses, holding it, you had more time to be aware of how you're activating and engaging into your body. And so we want to try to take that through our practice as we go a little bit faster. So again, just take your mind away from that outside world and bring everything internally and connect into this moment right here, right now, as we practice into this yoga practice. Very good. All right. So hopefully you've had something to drink. I want you to find your way into downward facing dog. Another 3 breaths here. As you inhale, lift up your left leg, bend your left knee towards your chest, step it forward, and set your pose up for Warrior One pose. Biceps in line with your ears. Squaring your shoulders and squaring your hips. Be here for 5 breaths. Look up, watch your prayer touch, bring it through the center line of your body, adjust your stance, find your way into Warrior Two pose. What's happening with the activation into your core? 4 more breaths. Drop your right hand back behind you, rotate your left palm, reverse into a warrior. 5 breaths. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, come back into Warrior Two pose. 5 breaths. As you inhale, straighten out your left leg, extend your left arm forward, drop into Trikonasana triangle pose. 5 breaths, looking up or looking down. What's happening with the core? What's happening with the breath? Last 2 breaths. So we're finding our way back into Warrior Two pose. From the Warrior Two pose, bring your hands into prayer position. Walk your left toes out towards the left hand side. Pull your right hip forward, lift up that left heel, right heel, and come into this warrior pose, or hands in prayer position into a high lunge. Two more breaths. So from this position, we're going to pull the right knee in towards our chest, stepping forward. Lifting up. 4 more breaths. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, we're flowing forward into Warrior Three pose. Bend into the left knee. Drop the right hip. Find your balance if you can. Maybe arms go out towards the side. Hands drop down towards the mat. Flow that right foot towards the back of the mat into that high runner's lunge, or that sort of crescent lunge. 3 more breaths. And move through a vinyasa if you want, stepping back into plank pose, holding it for 5 breaths. Knees, chin and chest when you're ready. Holding for 5 breaths. When you're ready, dropping down onto your belly, untucking your toes, we're coming into baby cobra, 5 breaths. Floating all the way back down again, tucking under your toes, pushing back through to plank pose. Chin towards your chest, parking your hips up towards the ceiling. Downward facing dog. So keep flowing because we're holding the poses. As you inhale, lift up the right leg, bend the right knee towards your chest, step it forward, set up for warrior 1 pose on the right hand side. 5 breaths. Straighten out that left leg, push into the outside edge of that left foot. Look up, hands come into prayer position. Adjust your stance, find your way into warrior 2 pose. Last 2 breaths. Left hand drops back behind you, rotate your right palm, reverse into a warrior. 5 breaths. Coming all the way back into warrior 2 pose. What's happening into the core? You still activated it? Have you loosened up? Have you over tightened? Last 2 breaths. As you inhale, straighten out the right leg. Reach the right hand forward. Drop your right hand onto your right shin. Float your left fingers up towards the ceiling, looking up or looking down. Trikonasana triangle pose. Really good opportunity to find space, find connection into the body. Last 2 breaths. Find your way back into warrior 2 pose. Hands come into prayer position. Walk your right toes across to the right hand side. Pull that left hip forward. Come into that runner's lunge pose. Do it slowly so you don't damage that right hip. Last 2 breaths. Again, we're going to step into that right leg, pull that left knee in towards our chest. On your inhale, step it forward, slowly does it, pull it in towards your chest, flex your left toes towards your left shin, 5 breaths. Last 2. Float it all the way back into warrior 3 pose, slight bend into that right knee, straighten out that left leg, left hip and right hip aligned. You can take your arms out towards the side if you want. Frame our front foot, step our left foot back, come into that sort of runner's lunge. 3 breaths. Or 5 breaths, sorry. Step back into plank pose, 5 breaths. Knees, chin and chest for 5 breaths when you're ready. Dropping your belly down, coming into baby cobra, 5 breaths. Activate into your belly, core area. Float all the way down. Tuck under your toes, push back into plank. Chin towards your chest, pike your hips up towards the ceiling. We're just going to keep flowing just a little bit longer. Inhale the left leg, bending the left knee towards your chest, step it forward. Find your warrior one flow on this opposite side, 3 breaths. Open up into warrior 2. Reverse into a warrior, 3 breaths. Back into warrior 2 pose, 3 breaths. Trikonasana triangle pose on the left hand side, looking up, looking down, 3 breaths. Where's your consciousness? Where's your awareness? Finding your way back into warrior 2 pose, hands come into prayer position, walking your left toes out towards the left hand side, pulling your right hip forward. Come into this runner's lunge, hands in prayer position. Step into your left foot, pull the right knee towards your chest. 3 breaths. Float all the way forward into warrior 3 pose, 3 breaths. Crescent lunge, 3 breaths. Pull the left knee towards your chest, step back into plank, 3 breaths. Check in with your belly, check in with your core, push back through the heels, engage into your legs. Knees, chin and chest, 3 breaths. Drop down onto your belly, baby cobra, 3 breaths. Float all the way down, push back into plank, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up behind you, bend the right knee towards your chest, step up into warrior 1 on the right hand side. 3 breaths. Transition into warrior 2 pose. 3 breaths. Reverse into warrior, 3 breaths. Back into warrior 2 pose, 3 breaths. Trikonasana triangle pose on the right hand side. Back into warrior 2 pose, hands come into prayer position, walking the right toes across the right hand side, pulling the left hip forward. Step into the right foot, bend the left knee towards your chest, hold it. 3 breaths. Flex the left toes towards the left shin. Warrior 3 pose. Drop your hands down towards the mat, extend your left foot towards the back of the mat, runner's lunge. Straighten out that left leg, 2 more breaths. Move through your vinyasa, holding it for 3 breaths. Meet you back in downward facing dog. Alright, beautiful. So just for a moment, come into child's pose, toes come together, reconnect into your breath, 3 deep inhales and exhales. Find your way into downward facing dog, speeding it up. Last rotation here. Inhale, lift up the left leg, come into warrior one on the left hand side. From warrior one into warrior two pose. Warrior two into reverse warrior. Reverse warrior into warrior two. Warrior two into Trikonasana on the left hand side. Back into warrior two pose. Hands come into prayer position. Walking and pulling that left or right hip forward. Right knee going to come in towards our chest. Warrior three pose. Step that right foot back, frame your front foot with both of your hands. Step back into plank pose. Knees, chin and chest. Onto your belly, untuck your toes, baby cobra. All the way back down again, pushing back into plank pose. Chin towards your chest, pike hips up towards the ceiling, downward facing dog. Last time, right leg lifts up behind you. Walk your right foot forward, come into warrior one on the right hand side. Prayer comes together, open up into warrior two. Reverse into warrior. Back into warrior two pose, moving with your breath. Straighten out that front leg. Where's your awareness with your core? Trikonasana, triangle pose. Back up into warrior two pose. Hands come into prayer position, walking the right foot across to the right hand side, pulling that left hip forward. Stepping into the right foot, left knee comes in towards your chest, last time. Flowing forward into warrior three pose. Stepping those left toes back, framing your front foot with both of your hands. Step back into plank pose. Knees, chin and chest. Onto your bellies, last baby cobra. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, coming down. Pushing back into plank pose. Chin towards your chest, pike hips up towards the ceiling, downward facing dog. Really well done, guys. Just for a moment, 3 breaths. Knees drop towards the outside edges. Baby toes come together, one-legged child's pose, 5 breaths. Just let that sequence connect into your bodies. Repeat your sankalpa, your intention, your affirmation. Give rise and energy to that which you wanted to achieve. Bring your attention into your core, find your way into tabletop position. Lift up your feet, cross your one foot in front of the other. Drop your feet down, roll all the way back into Sukhasana, easy seated position. Extend both of your legs out in front of you. Walk your heels towards the front of the mat. We'll take our hands back behind us, dropping down into left and right elbow, rolling all the way down onto our backs. As you inhale, pull the left knee towards your chest. Start to straighten out that leg, but interlace your fingers behind the left thigh. And when you're ready, keep that right leg straight, keep the left leg straight and reach it all the way up. Some of you might be able to grip into your toes while lying down on your back. Slight bend into the knee as you pull the knee in towards your nose. Just 2 more breaths. Release the bind behind the left thigh, bend the left knee towards your chest, interlace your fingers below the left knee, flex your toes towards the left shin, come into wind release pose on the left hand side, 5 breaths. Last breath here. Gently release the bind below the left knee. Place your right hand onto your right hip. Bring the left hand onto the inside edge of your left knee. Reach for your big toe on the left hand side and come into half happy baby on the left hand side. Pulling the left knee in towards your left armpit. Lengthening out through the back of your head. 3 more deep inhales and exhales here. Thank you. gently bend into the knee, release the bind, extend that left leg all the way out in front of you. So we're going to inhale, bend the right knee towards our chest, slightly lift up the right heel, interlace your fingers behind the right thigh or grab into that right big toe, and then straighten out the leg as you bring the toe all the way in towards your head. So really straightening out into those hamstrings on the left and right hand side. 2 more breaths here. Release the bind, bend into the knee, place your hands below the knee, interlace your fingers. Come into wind release pose on the right hand side, keeping the left leg active. Right toes flex towards the right shin. 3 more deep inhales and exhales. Gently release the right knee away from your chest. Place the left hand onto your left hip. Right arm comes inside your right knee, reaching for your right big toe. And then finding your way into half happy baby on the right hand side. So that knee's coming in towards your armpits. Keep your hips square. Last 2 breaths. So gently releasing the heel down, releasing the bind and extending the right leg out in front of you. Left knee bends in towards your chest, coming into that pose where your hands are behind your thigh. Straighten out that leg, start to pull the knee towards the nose. Just 3 breaths now. Release the bind, bend the knee in towards your chest, interlace the fingers below the knee, come into wind release pose. Keep the right leg active. Release the bind, right hand comes into right hip. We're coming into half happy baby on the left hand side. Maybe noticing if you're finding a little bit more space. Release the heel towards the sitting bone and extend that leg all the way out in front of you. Inhaling, bending the right knee towards your chest, coming into head to toe pose on the right hand side, straightening out that leg, putting it in towards your nose. 1 more breath here. Release the bind, bend the knee towards your chest, place your hands below your knees, pull the knee in towards your chest, keep the left leg active. Left hand comes onto left hip, we're reaching for half happy baby on the right hand side, straightening out that right leg, pulling the heel or the knee in towards the armpit. Lengthening out through the back of your neck. And then releasing the heel towards the sitting bone, extending the leg all the way out in front of you. So we're going to bend into that left knee. Bring your left inside ankle to the inside of your right knee. Left hand goes out towards the left hand side. Take your right hand on the outside of your left thigh, and then gently pull the left knee across to the right hand side as you gaze to the left. 5 deep inhales and exhales here. Releasing the bind, rolling all the way back onto your backs and extending that leg all the way out in front of you on the left hand side. So bending into the right knee, bringing the right inside ankle to the left inside knee. Left hand comes onto the outside of the right thigh. Right arm goes out towards the right hand side, palm facing down, gently pulling the right knee across to the left hand side as we look right. 5 breaths. Rolling all the way onto your back, extending that right leg out in front of you. So one pose for you to do whatever suits you just before you move into Shavasana. Maybe it's a knees to chest, maybe it's a happy baby, maybe you just want to find your way into Shavasana, into corpse pose. Just giving you the opportunity to express yourself. Whatever you do, bring your attention into that core area. Notice how you've activated, engaged. Find your way into the pose, find your way into corpse pose. And then of course everyone find your way into corpse pose. Take your time if you're working through the pose of choice. And then as you find your way into corpse pose, closing into your eyes, relaxing into your body, smooth inhale, long one through your nose, opening up your mouth, letting the breath go. Well done, guys. One more. Long, slow inhale. Notice your belly rise. Exhale, let the breath go. Well done. Relaxing into your bodies. Active practice of yoga is done for today. Active control of your breath is done. Just relax and release. Relax every muscle, every fiber of your being. Staying conscious, staying aware. Deep, deep relaxation. Let the practice go. All that you needed to do is done. Just relax. Bringing yourself back, just noticing your physical presence in the space that you're practicing today. I want you to just quieten your mind one more time. See if you can extend your mind outside of the space that you're practicing in, and notice whether you can connect into the energy of the fellow yogis that are practicing with you. If you can, send some gratitude to those yogis as I'm sending gratitude to each and every one of you tonight. Bring the attention to the back part of your body as it connects onto the floor, onto the mat. We'll bring the sensation of touch back to your body, taking your thumb gently caressing each of your fingertips. Then wiggling into your fingers, wiggling into your toes. And then rotating your wrists and ankles 3 or 4 or 5 times in either direction. Just balancing out the rotations in both directions. When you've finished, ankles come together, extend your arms above your head. Really great opportunity to inhale, stretch out your bodies, open up your mouth, let the breath go. One more time, it feels delicious. Inhaling, stretching out your body, really open up your mouth, let the breath go. Pull your knees in towards your chest and roll onto your left or right hand side, whatever suits you today. Repeat your sankalpa, your intention, your affirmation 3 times. And then sit all the way back up into our easy seated pose. Hands closed. So eyes closed. Hands come into prayer position at the center of your chest. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste. Have a beautiful evening. Look forward to seeing you at the yin practice on Friday.